Hi, I'm Jess Porter. Welcome to The List. I'm talking today with Sasha, who lives in Toronto. She is my goddaughter. Thank you so much for doing this, for humoring me.
Thanks for thinking of me.
Well, I thought of you as soon as this whole thing happened. There's a handful of people I know, young adults like you, who were sort of yanked out of college in the middle of their experience there. So tell me, where do you go to school?
I go to McGill in Montreal.
And how did they break it to you?
Well, they did a really bad job. I remember I was sitting in all my classes of hundreds of people, or most of them, and we're all cramped together, so everyone was kind of uneasy about that. And then one day in math class, I remember seeing on the news that the Quebec government had banned gatherings of over 250 people, so I thought, okay, classes must be canceled. And over the next few days, we got a series of emails saying we're evaluating our options, we're thinking about what to do, not giving very much information, but everyone was like glued to their phones, just like waiting to hear what would happen. And so we finally found out that classes would be canceled through an Instagram video they released.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the idea that young people don't really get coronavirus or don't suffer from it as much? Did you find that that was like being disseminated, among your peers as sort of like a who cares?
Yeah, sort of. There were definitely a lot of different reactions. Like I talked to a lot of people who were worried about giving it to their parents. I don't know anyone who was worried themselves about getting or dying from it, because I don't really know anyone who's like immunocompromised. But like on the other side of things, there were people who, it coincided with St. Patrick's Day weekend. On the last day I was in residence for St. Patrick's Day, a bunch of people got together in the field outside my window and started doing shots, and they were all dressed in green. So like definitely a lot of people didn't care. And the attitude, when everyone was moving out of residence, everyone, or a lot of people were saying like, oh, one last big night out, and everyone hit the same clubs. So it kind of defeated the purpose of social isolation.
Right. I mean, one of the reasons I was interested in talking to you is that, the first year of university or college is like a huge expansion in someone's life. I mean, I remember for me it was the first taste of independence and decision-making and stuff. So were you enjoying the experience, and what were you learning from it?
I was really enjoying myself, and I think the most disappointing thing is that I still had so many things I wanted to do in first year, like things that I had been putting off or looking forward to. I had a list, and my friends made a list of things that we wanted to do, sort of like a bucket list. And I only found it after I moved out. We'd forgotten about it after September, but there was still so much on it that we hadn't done, just places we hadn't been to and bands we hadn't seen and things like that. So there's not really closure in that sense, but I did really enjoy first year, but it already seems like it's over, even though it's not. I guess in one sense it is.
And you're basically locked in your house back with your parents and your sibling, correct?
Yep. Yeah, that's how it is. And my dogs.
How has that been? How has being at home been?
It's been okay, but it does feel strange to try to study, because we're still expected to be like in school full time, and that feels like the least important thing in my life right now. But every day I get tons of emails and assignments and lectures I have to watch, and that's hard to keep up with when I'm just trying to spend time with my family and also like not worry too much about coronavirus.
And I wonder too, for people your age, like for me, I'm in my 50s and there's never been a pandemic in my lifetime. So it's sort of karate chopping me late in life, and I have a whole lot of normal. I have 50 years of normal, but you only have like 19 years of normal. So was the idea that a pandemic could happen, was that on your radar?
Not at all, no. I've heard sort of retrospectively that Bill Gates and other people were saying it was inevitable that it would happen, but it's definitely strange feeling like you're living through a historical event. And I've been thinking a lot that if this could happen so easily, what's to stop it happening again? It could easily happen again. This probably isn't the only pandemic I'll live through. And I've been thinking a lot about those old people you hear about who survived coronavirus after living through the Spanish flu and other huge illnesses. And, like, that might be me, like, a few pandemics down the road. I'll have lived through the coronavirus. I'll have lived through all these other things. It's really strange to think that you're going through a historical event. Like, that happened a little bit with Brexit, with the election of Trump, but not with something like this that's so concrete and so, like, obviously life-changing. It's very, very strange.
What do you most look forward to doing when this is over?
Definitely seeing my girlfriend. Yeah, I had plans to go tree planting with her this summer, actually on April 30th, and I have no idea whether that's happening, so that's been a big source of stress because I really want to do that, but, like, obviously if the situation gets worse, I don't want to be that far away from my family.
Wow. Well, you know me, I'm doing this gratitude thing lately, and I find it's really interesting to do it with different people and see what comes up. So if you're game, let's do the list. I'll start. I'm looking at it right now, my laptop. I mean, oh my God, what a laptop can do. I mean, I'm bummed that I spent all day in front of it, but what an amazing thing. I would not want to go through a pandemic without my laptop.
The first thing that comes to mind is my dog, Roxy. She's right in front of me, and I'm so grateful to her because I feel like dogs are endless sources of emotional support. And whenever I'm anxious or nervous, I can just pet her, and I instantly feel a bit better.
The cat that I'm living with right now, her name's Zazu, and she's like this little Russian blue colored cat, you know, that weird sort of somewhere between blue and gray color with this flat Persian face, and she's just adorable. And I mean, the other thing is they don't know what's going on, and there's something so great about an animal being completely ignorant of the shitstorm that the humans are in.
I'm grateful for all the books that I own because obviously I like opening them and reading them, but also I just like having them around. I feel like they're good company, and I like knowing that I could open any one of them and just kind of get distracted by the story. And I have so many different genres and lengths of books and kind of moods of books.
That's great. I have a mug on my bedside table that some people I cooked for a couple years ago made for me, and it has their pictures on them. And they're in England right now in social isolation, and we just had such an amazing year together. And she had a physical condition that was really scary, and we used the macrobiotic diet to strengthen her and her husband, and God, it was an amazing experience. And they made this mug for me, so every time I use it, I think of them.
Nice. I'm grateful for the boxes of tea I have in my room because I like knowing I can make a cup of tea instantly if I want to. That's another thing. They're all from university. I had huge stockpiles amassed because I thought I'd have months left of drinking them. So now they're all half finished.
And back at home in your bedroom. I'm really grateful for the weird eye coverings that I now need to sleep past sunrise. You know those like eye bras?
Yeah.
They look like a bra on your face.
I used one too.
I found ones last year that are really good. Like just they don't mush your eyes and they stick to your face. And
is it the one that looks like
so
a bra?
I bought 4 of them. It kind of does look like a bra on your face.
I have one that looks like a bra. It's good. They're
good. They're like they're value added to my life. Big time.
So true. That's nice. I'm grateful for my CD collection because I feel like I find a lot of music through CDs that I wouldn't through a streaming service or even YouTube, like old, obscure, bad music from CDs that I find on the side of the road. And I also have a lot of mixtapes different people have made me from over the years. So whenever I listen to those, I feel like I'm taken back to when I was 15 or 16 or 17.
You know, speaking of finding things on the side of the road, and I'll make this my next one, I used to find photographs, like random photographs that people had clearly dropped from their wallets or something of family members and family gatherings. And I kept them in my purse, and I had like 4 or 5 weird photographs of other people's lives in my purse. It was like a thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at one I have right now.
Seriously?
That's what you're grateful for. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say I'm grateful for mine, but I found a Polaroid when I was like a few years ago, and it's a woman's silhouette, and she's kind of dark looking over the balcony of a condo in what looks like downtown Toronto or somewhere, and you can see the lake in the distance.
Huh.
And so I hung it up on my wall.
Want that to be one of yours? Do you want random photographs to be one of your
Yeah, sure. I'm grateful for the random photographs. It's been a pretty constant part of my life. I see it all the time. So.
Right. I was thinking of one the other day, which is change. Change just keeps coming. And there's a certain point when I was sort of in my late 40s where I thought, oh, this is where my parents were, when I would look up at them and think, oh, they're done. You know what I mean? Like nothing new is going to happen to them. And yet I got to this age and realized, no, it just keeps coming. Change just keeps coming, so I better be good with it. So change.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot with my parents as well. Like how life just kind of keeps going when you're older and you can decide to stay on the same track or do something radically different. But definitely as you get older, you start to think more about what you want your life to look like. And coronavirus kind of warps it all, strangely. Yeah.
Well, and the changes just keep coming whether we decide on them or not.
That's really true, yeah. I'd say I'm grateful for, honestly, my schoolwork because I think that's given me a lot of structure and grounding. Like whenever I'm bored or stressed about coronavirus, I can just disappear into Anna Karenina or calculus or my Jewish studies course or anything and just focus on that. And it'll be like it's January and I'm just worried about an upcoming midterm. And I find the content really interesting. So it's nice to feel like I'm kind of moving in a direction, not just staying still while I'm in isolation.
I feel the same way about this podcast. I'm very grateful for it because it just turns my head around, gives me something to do, it's a creative pursuit in the middle of something that's asking us to sort of stagnate for the greater good.
So cool. I'd say I'm grateful for the really cheap earbuds I bought from Staples a few months ago because I think at least 2 of my professors must have newborn babies because whenever they do their lectures from home, they speak in the quietest whisper imaginable. And the only way I can hear them is if I crank the volume up to its maximum and put the earbuds in, so it's like they're whispering right in my ear. So without the earbuds, I wouldn't be able to hear them at all. So I'm grateful to them.
Good. I'm grateful for a video that my sister sent me where there was a Zoom. It was a Zoom class, like a law school somewhere, where one of the guys on the Zoom didn't know his camera was on and he got naked.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, it's a bigger issue than you'd think. I've yet to have that happen in one of my lectures, but like I'm holding out, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm really grateful to my girlfriend, Audrey, because it's been so nice, and it really like gives me a sense of structure and makes me really happy talking to her every day, or not every day, but almost every day, and also thinking about something to look forward to, like either seeing her in Ottawa or when we go tree planting.
That's great. I'm really grateful for my roommate who reads about coronavirus all day, every day for his work, and yet is not in a panic. So I feel like I'm in an environment where I get all the information, but it comes, in a mellow way. I really appreciate it. And he's just a great person. He's really fun to hang out with.
I am grateful for the 2 Furby dolls that I have in my room that I found a few years ago, not knowing where they came from, because I am a camp counselor for a week every summer, and I brought them to the camp last summer, and the kids loved them and fought over every night over who would get to cuddle with the Furbies. So whenever I see them, I remember the cute little kids and just having fun that summer. And I look forward to this summer when I hopefully get to bring them back to camp.
I have a sister who worked at camps for a couple of decades with kids either with cancer or sickle cell anemia, or even orchestrated bereavement camps for kids who'd lost people in their family.
Oh, yeah, I know a few people who work for those kinds of camps.
And I just think I'm just grateful for my sister that she does stuff like that, because I don't know if I could stomach it, and I'm just glad those people exist.
Let me see. I'm grateful for cups of tea because I drink probably 4 to 6 cups of tea a day, and I find it so comforting. I think it tastes so good, and I can't imagine my life without drinking tea all the time.
I love a good cup of tea too.
Yeah.
You gotta. Healthy food. I'm so grateful I eat healthy food. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I'm really grateful that I weirdly made that decision in my 20s, and it made no sense given how I'd grown up. No sense at all. And suddenly I was just like into healthy food, and oh my God, I'm so grateful that happened. I feel like it happened in spite of me almost.
Interesting. Yeah, I volunteer for my school's eating disorder resource and support center, and I'm really grateful for that work that I get to do because I find it really rewarding, like helping people, helping organize support groups and drop-in sessions and things like that. But I also just love the people I work with, and I've learned so much about diet culture and like how eating disorders can manifest and the kind of support that people need. And I really like being able to support people, like knowing how to active listen, having gained all these skills from doing it. I like feeling so like capable. Yeah, and I'm really grateful I get to keep doing that next year.
That's great. I'm really grateful for hypnosis. You know, I've been doing hypnosis with people for 20 years, and it's just a really, not just kind of a cool skill, but when someone's ready to change, a good hypnotherapy session can clean up a ton of shit and really, really be effective.
So cool. I'm really grateful for the water damage in my friend's apartment because she lives in Hamilton, and because her apartment had to get fixed for a few days, she had to get an Airbnb in Toronto. Because she was staying close to me, we got to go on a coronavirus walk and walk around 6 feet apart, and it was really nice to see her in person.
That's great. Yeah, I would say my friends, including your parents. I mean, all the people in my life that I love. What a gift. What a great thing to have people, you know? I mean, and if anything, this is just making me appreciate people that much more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's taught me how important people are to me. Like, I kind of oscillate between thinking I'm an introvert and an extrovert, and this has definitely made me realize I'm extroverted. But it's also made me realize I'm grateful that I can entertain myself as much as I can, because I've found that whenever I do feel bored or stressed or anything, I have a lot of like resources in myself that I can fall back on to help, like journaling, reading, going for walks, studying, painting, playing guitar, playing with my dogs. Like, there's so many things that I like doing and that I've already known I've liked doing, and now I can really like use those to get me through this. So I'm really grateful for myself.
I love that. And you know, it's the opposite of what people my age assume of people your age, which is that you have, you know, incredibly short attention spans and can't entertain yourselves.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that, though, like how we define productivity and things, because I know, like, I'm in university. I don't know if my university is harder or easier than most of them, but, like, it's hard. It's really hard, and it's hard for everyone, like, no matter what they're studying. And I never really appreciated how, like, anyone who gets a degree needs to work if they really want to learn the stuff. Like, it's a lot of work. Yeah, it's strange realizing like everyone actually is pretty smart. Everyone does work pretty hard, but that's what happens.
Oh. I'm going to say insights that we just keep having in life. And you just said one, which is at your age, I remember sort of thinking the same thing, like this appreciation for, oh, not everyone's a complete idiot, you know?
Yeah.
And then later in my 20s, you know, reaching out to my peers who I'd known in university and seeing that we'd all kind of matured in similar ways through our 20s because life continues to teach you just through experience. So just that we have brains that will continually adapt, continually stretch.
Yeah, and they'll really make any circumstance seem normal. Like even this is totally unheard of, and I can't imagine how I would react if I told myself this a few months ago. I keep thinking, like, if I had told myself somehow you'll be leaving McGill in March, I would have just assumed that I dropped out because I could not even imagine something like this happening. But now it seems
and yet
pretty
here
normal.
We are.
Yeah. And, like, you hear so many jokes about it, like people joking about what they're going to do when they get out and just, like, joking about online lectures and things. And it really is normal, and it makes me think, like, in past crises, like even during wars and things, people just reacted with humor so much of the time to kind of normalize it.
And they normalized it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can normalize
imagine,
almost anything.
Like World War II in Europe, you're talking about, 5.5, 6 years of crisis. And yet there must have been, a normalization process. There has to have been. It's just too long to have not taken place.
Yeah, I'm taking a course right now in World War II, and like we talk a lot about how different people react to it and the kind of process of normalization that happened. But there's so many like magazines and articles and plays and things that were made just to kind of make light of it, even the darkest parts, because that's just how people tend to react to things.
I don't know if it's your turn or mine.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll go. I'm grateful for all the photographs I've printed that are hanging up around my room and in various boxes. I took a big trip last year between high school and university, and, as you know, and I took a lot of pictures, and I decided once I got back to develop them all and put them into a big scrapbook. And the scrapbook never materialized because I was too lazy, but as a result, the pictures are just everywhere, like hanging up, lying around, and it's so nice to just look at them and get reminded of one little part of the trip. Like, I have one here that's just of the roof of a building I liked in Rome.
I love that. Another sister of mine makes a calendar for the family every year with family photographs throughout the year. And I'm just so grateful for that. I love turning it to the next month and, like, seeing who's on, in April or March. And I always have it near my bed. And she's done it now for at least 10 years.
Wow.
And I have them all. And so if you look at them, or some years I'll put a bunch of them up and just see the progress and how little the kids were and how big they are now. And it's just a really cool thing that I only have good feelings about.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I'm grateful for this little necklace that I'm wearing now that is, I guess, made of fake diamonds. Like, I don't know. But I found it in the lining of a coat that I had bought at a thrift store for only like $5. And there was something and lining kind of chunky, and after like a year of owning it, I finally cut it open and found a little necklace in there, so it was like a little bonus present.
That reminds me of my friend Daniel Overberger, who was my yoga teacher for a long time, and he taught yoga outdoors in Runyon Canyon here in LA. And you can take yoga outdoors on the grass all year in LA, which is just the most amazing thing.
I can't even
and he
fathom
would teach
that.
by I know. It's one of the best things about living here. And he taught by donation only, and he has and may still have like a cash life, where it's most of his earnings are through cash. And so one day I went out to lunch with him, and he was wearing this totally badass, like, red blazer. And he goes, yeah, I've had this for years. And the other day I took it out. I haven't worn it in a couple of years. And I reached into the pocket. There was $1,000. He had, like, stashed some of his money in the coat, just randomly a couple of years ago.
So good.
Daniel Overberger.
That's who you're grateful for.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I love hiding money in my clothes and rediscovering it. It's usually by accident, but I love when it happens.
Yes.
I have this little stone. It's like one of those tourist souvenirs, a worry stone. And when you rub on it, it's meant to give you good luck. And I think I bought it at some tourist attraction in Ireland, like the Blarney Castle or something like that. But when I was in grade 10, and I used to do a lot of Model UN, and whenever I went to a tournament, I would put it in my blazer pocket, and I would rub on it when I was giving a big speech or something like that. And it made me feel really confident. And confidence is really the only thing that matters in Model UN, like probably in a lot of places. So, yeah, I think it really helped me. So I'm grateful for the stone.
I think we need only look to Donald Trump to see how much confidence works for people throughout their lives, unfortunately, sometimes.
It's very true.
I'm grateful for hand sanitizer, that I have some, that I didn't go nuts trying to find it. In fact, I have 2 friends who have given me hand sanitizer.
Wow.
And I just feel, like, just the kind of thing you need right now.
Yeah, definitely. I'm grateful for math, because I really love math. It, like, cheers me up whenever I do it, so I'm grateful for that, and I'm excited to learn a lot of it.
I feel like you just spoke Chinese. No, I say that only because I failed math in 10th grade, but I love that you love math. I really do. One day I'll come to Toronto and you can try and teach me some math. It might help. I mean, I do believe that teachers are everything. So I'm going to say my next one is good teachers. Like, I had a Spanish teacher that was so good that 10 years after graduating from high school, actually 13 years later, I went to Peru for 6 weeks, and I hadn't spoken Spanish at all in those 13 years. And suddenly, thrown into Peru, it was like my Spanish was not dead, just buried, and it just sprang back. And I was so amazed by how well I'd been taught, let's put it that way, and enthusiastically, and how lovingly I'd been taught, because that's part of why it wasn't dead, was that my brain had sort of held it lovingly in this place. And I looked up my Spanish teacher and called her and said, I need you to know that I just went to Peru for 6 weeks, and I thought of you every single day. And it was an amazing experience. And she was like, oh, my God, you made my year. And
so nice.
So great teachers, teachers that you'll never forget.
I'm grateful for my apartment next year, because it still doesn't seem real that we're going to be living in it, but I love the idea of, for the first time, having my own place with my friends and the freedom that comes with. And it's in such a nice area. It's right next to a park. It has exposed brick, lots of natural lighting. It is kind of tiny and shitty, but that's kind of just how it is. It's really cheap.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Comedy. I've been doing comedy for the last couple of years, and it is the most fun thing I've ever done. So much fun. Can't even stand it. And I miss it. I really miss it.
I'm grateful for Montreal in Montreal, because I've spent hours just walking around there, and it's just like meditation. It's so nice. And I did that the day before I left, and it really made me feel more, I don't know the word, like acclimated to leaving. It made me feel ready to leave just because it let me process it. And it felt like a really natural end, because the first day I was in Montreal, I walked up it as well.
Yeah, I'm grateful for Los Angeles. It's such a, this is my last one, by the way. It's such a, it takes such shit. Like, people just love to shit on LA, and it's actually, in so many ways, a really, really great place. I love the vibe here. I love the people here. I love the weather here. You know, half the people here work for the entertainment industry, and I just love that. I just love that it's all connected to these weird fantasies that we all are so connected to. And I've been an actor most of my life in some capacity or another, so a town full of unemployed actors, like, I get it. I get it.
This is kind of corny, but I am grateful for my family. This is like such an unexpected opportunity to spend time with them, and I find I want to spend time with them all the time. I think I miss them more than I realized, and I can't believe that if I wasn't here, I just wouldn't be seeing them and wouldn't be talking to them. Like, I spend so much of my day trying to be around them, going on walks with them, watching movies, making dinner, cleaning up, and it's so nice, and I didn't realize I'd been missing it as much as I had.